So you're a fan of the Sounders. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. So you asked me to come decked out in what I'm the biggest fan of. And, I'm a fan of people, I'm a fan of products, but really when it comes down to it, the fan of the Sounders is, or the Chicago Bulls, but I didn't think that would go over so well here in Seattle. So I chose the Sounders to deck out my fandom. And, really it's about who I get to connect with, in connection with the brand. If you're going to call it a brand, I call it, it's just a passion. It's more than a brand. It's really just about the people and about the connections that the Sounders have facilitated for me have been priceless.
If you were to tell somebody the reason to be a season ticket holder for the Sounders is X, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's about that family, that community, and having a common purpose, having a common goal of cheering on the team to victory. Fortunately enough, in my years of owning season tickets, they've always delivered more victories than losses. It's a great team to watch, and so that makes it easier. The excitement on the pitch, but for me, it's about the energy that you get. The energy you get from the crowd, the energy you get from the people around you. I think you see a lot of brands, not to get too into like the academic speak of it, but you see a lot of brands that forge community around them, and that the product, like here, the product is the team on the field, the shirts and jerseys and the scarves. But what all of that creates of connections and community and how it shapes your life is where the brand is really powerful.
What's the craziest thing you did as a fan? Outside of the nature of a football team, what cultivates it for companies? How do they make people do this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to our two examples and then let's zoom out. Like you're the 12th fan, right? That's the big thing, is that they tell you every time that the other team does a false start, they give you credit for it.
That's right.
And then the Sounders like keep cultivating and saying we're the best fans in the world and this is important to the team. And so I think when there's this shared purpose and that you feel you have a role to play, like everybody's looking for a purpose and a role to play and to make some sort of impact and leave a mark to some degree. And so when, as brands, if you give your customers an opportunity to work with you to achieve a shared goal, it's really powerful, right? And so people kind of change as they're like, all right, I got to dig in, roll up my sleeves, and get to work on this goal. Whether that's sustainability, your company, your brand can get people passionate about sustainability, can get people passionate about inclusion and sense of belonging. There's lots of areas that there's common goals that you could put associated that your brand is helping people achieve. And then and you look at like Coca-Cola tries to do this with Enjoy a Coke, and like it's all about the give a friend a Coke. So it's all about like, this product is not a product, it's a service to a goal, and we want to be a part of your community and let you achieve this goal together. The saying in product management, you've got to be stubborn on the vision and flexible on the details. That's a famous Jeff Bezos quote, and I think that's similar to brands. Like you have to live your values, state your values, have people know what you stand for, and then be flexible on how people use your brand to get there. And so letting them actually shape events around the brand, letting them shape experiences around the brand, letting them be a part of it and bringing their own energy and their own kind of creativity to it, while making sure that the values stay the same and that it's very clear like what your brand does stand for and perhaps what it does not stand for. Harley Davidson is one of the early ones. That's well recognized as just a phenomenally passionate fanatic. They're fans of Harley Davidson, and it goes down to the Harleys, it goes to the clothes, but it's very similar to the Sounders. Stoking opportunities for people to get together with their bikes, inviting them to modify their bikes and show that off, and just be a part of something that's more than just, hey, I sold you a product and now go do what you want with it, but let's build a community around this product and shared experiences and connections. If you're trying to get fanatics, you have to be careful because they could turn on you very quickly, right?
Right.
And so when you give up, the way to get that fanaticism is to give up some control. Like, again, stubborn on the vision, flexible on the details. You live and put your brand values down, but you give up some of that control, because once you state those values and get people really fervent around them, it's hard to change course, right? You can't do an overhaul. Then they have, if they feel like they have a right to be invested in your brand and to carry it forward, and then you do a logo redesign, or you change the product, or you change the quality of what you're doing. Like, if you make a major change, there could be a revolution. People react very strongly, because the way to have built that fanaticism is to give up some of that control, and then you lose it when you try to take it back. Like, it's friction when you try to take it back. Building a brand that people love and that people feel accomplished with, if you do it right and it's authentic, it's both good for the bottom line and good for the customer. An earlier question you had is like authentic versus non-authentic. Like, if your sole purpose is to find a way to get people to be fans so that you could get money from them, generally speaking, people could see through that.
Yep.
And so the best brands are authentic, and they make products that people love, and they create opportunities and connections and communities that people love, and they do it because it's the right thing for their customers who they've fallen in love with, and collectively that mutual love is going to make money, and it's going to help customers feel more connected and satisfy their needs. But you can't start from the let me make money off of them and how do I do it, let me make them fans somehow. And it's hard because we're trained like make money. But really, when you do some things without expecting anything in return, that's where the connections really form, and that's where the people want to be a part of that and want to help you along the way. Rituals really help form community and also help form attachment to a brand. So for Red, the ritual is every Tuesday at 4 p.m. he's going to show up and he's going to bring his show to the world. But for the Sounders, there's the rituals of the boom, boom, clap. There's the chants. And so Harley Davidson has the meetups and the rides across the country. Rituals really bind people together. And so for the brands out there, the people involved in brands, if you could form rituals around your brand, that's going to be strengthen the community and strengthen the fandom and the connections to it.
I love this. I am definitely like in the synopsis for the show. We're like, what the Sounders and the Bulls can teach you as the Kraken, right? Because it's like the Bulls don't do this. The Sounders definitely do this. And I agree with you. I've been to one game so far, and I've already invested. I got a t-shirt, I got a hat, I got the sweater. I had to learn that it's called a sweater in hockey. It's not actually not a jersey, right? It's a sweater. It's because it's cold. But yeah, there's aspects of the rituals that are so far lacking, and they've got plenty of time to change. But I think it's a really salient point that's a place where they could invest in order to create more of that emotional connection. I am taking a couple things away from this. One is the fact that there's this notion of identity that we bring to things we're a fan of, and that identity might even lead to you showing up differently, right? That when you walk in that building and you don't have your daughters with you, you might be a totally different Jeff Schulman than we see when you walk into the Foster School of Business, right? Like, that's a different identity, and we'll see a different part of you. And that's really, it's cool. It's awesome. It makes a lot of sense, but it can be cultivated and reinforced so that somebody shows up on a Harley and it's like, yep, this is how I feel. Yeah. I think I'm taking that away. And then I'm taking away, this aspect of the journey, like being on the journey together. And I think that's really an interesting way of looking at it. And I feel it too. Like, when I'm involved and I think we're going somewhere together, like, I'm really a lot more loyal. I'm much more likely to be fanatical and somebody who's going to say, oh, you gotta try this out. So that's awesome.